It's Brian Preston, the Money Guy.
KP has a question next. He says, just had a newborn baby girl. Congrats. That's very
awesome.
exciting. Thoughts on saving for college and thoughts on what higher education will look like in 18 years. Thanks.
Oh, man.
You guys don't have any thoughts on this.
So I want to make sure I get the question. So thoughts on saving for college?
Yeah,
and
first of all,
thoughts
just saving
on
for
the
college.
cost of college.
Yes.
Yeah, it's an interesting. Can I ask you a question, Reese? Is this
Of
okay?
course.
Because obviously, you guys have had a recent baby, and so you've probably had some thoughts around.
We have.
Okay, well, college. What from a mental standpoint?
Yes.
For a new parent. What are some of the things that you guys have been talking about? Only because I want KP to know
Right.
he or she's probably not alone.
Oh,
in thinking
absolutely
about this.
not. And there's obviously, we love 529s around here, but they're, like once you get into it, there's so many options. We definitely want to save for him. We know that. But I will be honest, there has been do you think he'll go to college?
Because there's some uncertainty around
yeah,
that,
what if
right?
he wants to do, and my husband and I are both in creative fields.
Sure.
And so we're like, what if he wants to be creative? Because I had a great college experience. My husband was like, may or may not have been worth it. We have even that conversation about what majors we've had. So we definitely want to save for him. And the grandparents have talked about 529, so that may happen. So that's where we are. I really do understand. I still think 529 is a really good thing because it can be used for any education, which is great. But I will probably be looking at some of the custodial accounts and stuff that you guys look
Love
at
it.
too, like when my husband and I officially open something up.
So what advice do you give a brand new parent?
There's three big things, and some of this is going to be cold water. First of all, I don't want you really thinking about this until you're step 8.
Oh,
Yeah.
love it. That's a great
Step
point.
8 of the financial
That's a
order of
great point.
operations. Go to moneyguy.com/resources if you want the free deliverable, or learn.moneyguy.com if you want the deep dive on the financial order of operations, because you got it. The best gift you can give your kids is that you don't have to live in their basement. I mean, unless they want you there, because I actually think the family where, you have family that lives close or even lives with you, I think it's very sweet when it happens organically and naturally, because I just love that. But it's different when it's kind of has to happen because the parents didn't save for the future. So make sure you get the order of operations of when you save for your brand new daughter. Right, so that's step 8. And then I was going to say 529s. I do love 529s because, man, here's why. These things are ATVs of options, because in the fact that they really are the all-terrain of
ATVs. I was like, that's a good example.
Well, no,
That's a great example.
because think about it, is that we don't know. I think education, y'all know, I've been, because I love education, because it is, I feel like so much of my life is somebody held a ladder for me of, not having money, but it was the knowledge that I was able to develop turned into a tool that then was able to help me create wealth. And that's what education is. It is your ladder up with knowledge. And that's kind of the great big beautiful tomorrow, the abundance cycle of what we tried to create here as educators. But there is a dark side to education, I feel like right now, is that a lot of young people are coming out of school with debt that I don't know how in the heck they're ever going to get ahead of.
Prices don't seem to be slowing down.
And colleges are just tone deaf. They're like, oh, you know what? Pay raises and new buildings and facilities. I'm like, whoa, let's chill out on that. And let's focus on what's the graduation rate, what's the average income of your graduates, what's their debt load. Let's have some self-reflection to make sure the institutions haven't lost the why they're actually trying to do this too and paying it forward. So I think there is a lot of risk, because we've talked about this, Bo, with the debt loads that young people have right now. I think a lot of 20 and 30-somethings are going to, when they have children, go have a different view towards higher education, because instead of it being the leg up, it might be the shackle that sat on your shoulders for years and kept you from fulfilling all of your financial desires because you had to pay this debt off that the institutions were tone deaf and kind of strapped you with. So that's why I think that I still love 529s, because you can use them for trade schools, you can use them for K through 12 education, and then even if you don't use them because either your child didn't go to college or higher education, or your child, let's go with the positive. I'm an optimist. Maybe they got a scholarship.
Sure, yeah.
You can pull the money out, and if they got a scholarship or something that's offset, you can actually pull the money out and only pay income taxes off of the gains only. But if you pull it out just because they didn't use it, you always can pay it forward to another relative, or you can pull it out and you just pay a 10% penalty on the gain only and the income taxes on the gain only. So you have options, but then
the second question, can I say a little something about the second part of the question? KP had asked, what is the future thought on college? This is a really hard one to answer because I don't think we know the answer to.
That's why you want ATV.
What's going to happen with college, because maybe it's not there. I'll tell you personally what I'm doing because I have the same concerns. What if college costs are so expensive that there's not a positive trade-off to actually go to college anymore? Or what if my daughters decide that they don't want to go to college, or that college isn't necessary for what they want to pursue? My wife and I are taking a middle-of-the-road approach. What we're saying is, hey, we're estimating we think college will probably cost by the time they get there, and we're going to try to save about 75% of that amount, 50 to 75% of the amount, in 529s. And with the remainder of that, we're just beefing up our hyperaccumulation individual taxable brokerage account, because we can always use those funds for that purpose in the future if we need to. I don't know if that's helpful, but that's a strategy that we're employing to not like overfund, but also not like overfocus and overfreak ourselves out.
That is helpful.
I have one last thing that I'd written down. A third thing is, it's a Rebbie echo, is I love the all hands on deck education funding. My mom, when my oldest was born, I think she put $1,000 into a 529. And I'm amazed because my daughter's now a freshman in college. And I haven't seen this statement because my mom, set it up as she was the named person on the 529 and my daughter was the beneficiary. But I mean, this thing has had a multiplying factor of 3 to 4-fold. And that's kind of amazing. I mean, it's really amazing to see what a little can turn into. So encourage, if you've got relatives that they, instead of buying you, I don't even know what kids play with now. It's not Tonka trucks and stuff, but instead of buying the new Leapfrog, that's probably even old now. I don't know what people play with anymore, but instead of buying all the toys and the cardboard boxes that your kids will enjoy more than the toys that came with, do an all hands on approach and encourage them to do 529s too.
Love it.